Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Horny Creek. My name is Mark. With me as always is my wife, Carol. How you doing today, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. It's been a good week here, I guess. A bad 5 minutes, but a good week here. It's March 3rd, 1999. And be careful what you wish for, Carol.
You too, Mark.
What the fuck? Jesus. Should have seen her face. I'm going to have to sleep with one eye open tonight.
I guess so.
Oh my god, I'm going to have Robbie the robot guard me, or whatever. Was that his name? Rob the robot.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The robot for Nintendo that you could put a controller in his hand and he would play with you.
What?
He'd push buttons.
Sounds dirty. Put a
what were you using
controller
it
in
for?
his hand and he'd play with you, huh?
Oh my god, what is wrong with you right now?
I don't know. Oh, goodness.
You don't remember Rob the Robot? Nintendo's Rob the Robot?
No.
Okay. There was like 3 games he could play with you.
Which ones?
I don't remember because I didn't have them. I wasn't rich.
Okay. You had to be a rich person for Rob the Robot. That's why I never heard of him.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I was middle class, so I at least heard of Rob the Robot. I knew of his existence. You were poor, so you didn't even hear about
Yeah,
him.
you had some rich friends.
But anyway, speaking of rich friends, or rich in friendship,
Yeah.
it's Dawson's birthday.
It is. He's 16.
Yeah, that means he's a Pisces, by the way.
So, did Pacey get held back a grade? Because Pacey turned 16 a long time ago.
I don't know. I guess maybe he did.
So weird.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But they've been friends since they were kids, right?
Yeah.
Since Pacey led his hockey team to a championship over the Swedish national team or whatever it was.
Right.
Finnish national team, I think. I think they played Finland. I'm not sure. But anyway, but yeah, he's a Pisces.
That's good detective work.
Do you know what that means, though? Pisces are...
He's a fish. I think.
Breaking news, Dawson is a fish.
I believe that.
We believe he's a trout.
I believe that's the representation of a Pisces.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be the expert on this shit.
I don't know any Pisces, so I didn't really learn about them. If I care about somebody, I'll learn about their astrology, but I don't know any Pisces.
No, Pisces are creative.
Well, that makes
and
sense.
Warm and loving.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm saying, I wonder if they thought that out.
Maybe. That's smart.
Or I wonder if Kevin Williamson is just a Pisces. If Dawson and him share a birthday.
That would make sense, too.
This character's based off of him. So
We should find that out. I wish there was a way to find that out. I don't know if the internet contains that information.
when Kevin Williamson was born?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's public information somewhere.
Yeah, but
We'd have to figure out where he was born and then find his birth certificate.
dear Lord, that's way too much work.
No, I'm going to do it.
You're a determined soul.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, God. Talk about this episode.
Okay, so as we said, it is Dawson's 16th birthday, and they're throwing him a surprise party. So it is Pacey's job
It is Pacey's job.
to keep him busy. Well, Joey's basically throwing the party, even though it's at his parents' house. So I think that's kind of weird.
Joey's they're all kind of in on it, but Joey's organizing the party.
Yeah. So she's in charge of, I guess, getting everybody, there and stuff.
Well, originally she was going to be in charge of keeping Dawson out of the house.
That's what I thought. I thought that was her thing.
But
Okay.
she fucked it up.
I thought I misunderstood what happened. Okay.
No, she fucked it up because they got into an argument.
They got in a fight. So, so instead she had to go help set up the party and Pacey had to distract Dawson.
What did she say? She said something they were talking about, he was Dawson was like, I want you back, basically.
Yeah.
Because the episode starts like every episode does in Dawson's room, and Dawson's talking to Pacey, and Pacey's like, "It's your birthday, Dawson. You already know this information, but we're going to tell the audience it's your birthday."
Yeah, because it was like 5 minutes before his birthday, and Pacey showed up to like ring in.
Yeah.
His birthday. Didn't he have a fucking like bell or something? He had something weird with him.
I don't think so. I think that was a dream. It was a dream you had about Joshua Jackson ringing a bell over your head or something like that.
I guess.
I'm gonna bang you like this bell, he says, or something.
Dear Lord.
But anyway, those are married women's dreams, everyone. So, no, he says something about, it's gonna be midnight or whatever, and Dawson's like, I'm a fucking loser. I'm here all alone, and you have got your thing going on, a girlfriend, and you're upstanding and respectable now, and I've got nothing. And
Joey's finding herself. She's got her art, and
Joey's masturbating, and I'm
what the fuck
finding herself, and that's euphemism for that, right? And I'm stuck here. I'm in the same place I was 1 year ago, and then he looks at the camera and he goes, "At the first episode of Dawson's Creek."
It's like even my parents are moving on.
Yeah.
And Jen may not be moving on, but at least she's moving, he says. Like
what does that mean?
I think he means like having sex and stuff, like having a life.
I guess, yeah.
He feels like he's just stagnant entirely.
He's not entirely wrong. His character is sort of stagnated.
Yeah.
And everyone else around him is more interesting than him.
And then Andy's going through some stuff too, because she's now in therapy.
She is.
And we see her with her therapist who's like, oh, it sounds like you've got so much on your shoulders for a 16-year-old girl and trying to be perfect. She's like, I prescribe a night of imperfection.
Yeah. Well, she's like, I'm going to write you a prescription. And Andy, like, perks all up and everything.
Yeah.
Like, I think she's got a problem, I think. And she's like, but it's not for medicine. And Andy, like, collapses. It's for, being a night of not being perfect. As Andy puts it later, she's letting her id come out to play. And Dawson, who's supposed to be this erudite, smart kid who uses huge words like erudite, says, what's the id?
Well, because they assume the audience doesn't know.
I guess, but Dawson would, you would think.
Yeah, Dawson would. But yeah, so...
The ego, the id, and the superego. You've studied Freud.
Yeah, so she's explaining that the id is the impulsive part of your brain.
What's the ego? Is that the self or whatever?
Your sense of self.
And then the superego is your sense of community or something?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. But yeah, so she wants to cut loose. Dawson wants to cut loose.
So they cut loose, footloose, kicking off their Sunday shoes.
So this is like the setup for this episode. I'm trying to think, like Dawson's parents in the morning of his birthday. This is fucked up. He comes downstairs.
He does.
And his dad is in the kitchen making breakfast. His mom got there about, 1 second before he did. And she's like, Mitch?
Yeah.
And he's like,
it's a tradition.
Yeah. And he's
it's a tradition for me to break into your house and make breakfast.
It's like, I always make him breakfast. So she takes him outside after he hands him the breakfast. So now he's eating his birthday breakfast alone. Right. She should have waited. Like,
I agree.
The damage was done. Talk to him later.
Yeah.
So Dawson's eating his birthday breakfast by himself, listening to his parents argue because they're not even quiet.
No, and he's like, sorry, or whatever. I guess it was presumptuous of me. And she's like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. And he's like, so we should talk about his present because we usually go in on something together. Which
is dumb because, like she says, it's his birthday now. Like, she's like, I already have a present for him.
Yeah, why does he think that nothing is going to change?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are going through a divorce. I don't understand why he thinks everything's just going to be the same. And she's like, yeah, I got him a gift. I got him a car.
Yeah.
Because it's his 16th birthday.
An Explorer, I believe she said.
A Ford Explorer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like a brand new car.
I know, with a ribbon on it.
It's insane.
Although it's not new for long. Somebody breaks it in.
Right. But like seriously, who gives a 16-year-old a brand new car? They're not rich.
No.
Like she is very much concerned with money because his dad's like, I know I haven't been contributing the way that I should be.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't have a job. How's he even paying for his apartment? Is he getting alimony from her? Like, how does this work?
I don't know. I don't know at all. Like, he's something about a restaurant or everything that's going on with him is vague. And he's like, maybe I'll get a job at the school. Doing what at the high school? Cooking? Like, what are you talking about? What do you do?
Yeah. He has mentioned this restaurant idea several times. Like, he was talking to, like, the
Tamara.
Yeah, the slut, about renting some space from her.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago.
It was.
So, like, what is going on?
Nothing happened with that.
Yeah.
We thought maybe they'd have sex, but they didn't.
It's like they're just keeping this on the back burner and bring it up every once in a while. But, like, how long do you drag that out without anything happening?
Well, the funny thing is the parent storyline is essentially non-existent in this show. The show is very much about the kids, and no one cares about the parents.
Yeah. So, apparently he owes her money or whatever.
I guess.
But yeah, he's a giant child. He has no idea how life works.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she did cheat on him, so.
Yes, and I'm beginning to see why.
Oh! Oh, wow. Really?
I'm sorry, but I mean, like, he's very irresponsible.
Okay, I think he's not a great husband or father, probably. But I don't think that excuses it.
It doesn't excuse it, but, like, initially, they kind of present him as perfect.
They do.
And her as, like, this terrible, tarnished person. And in reality, it's like their relationship was fucked up for a reason.
Yeah.
They were not balanced in any way.
Well, yeah, she says something way back in season 1 when we find out she's cheating. She's like, I guess, our life was perfect and, like, I just couldn't handle that. And I wanted, like, something not perfect or whatever, but it's like that's bullshit.
Yeah,
because it wasn't perfect.
It's obvious that they have problems, beyond the fact that she just wanted to fuck somebody else.
Exactly.
So that does not help Dawson's birthday mood.
No.
So then I don't think anything happens between then and him being out with Pacey.
What happens between then and him being out with Pacey?
Joey.
He has the fight with Joey, where he's like, Joey, I want to win you back or whatever.
Yeah, this is what I want to do to move on with my life.
Your ex-boyfriend's gay, I guess. So let's us get back together.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, Dawson, I don't want to, because she talked with her sister, and she's like. She's all distraught because she's like, I fucking turned a guy gay. Like, I guess that's my feminine charm, is to turn guys gay.
Well, no, her sister is trying to talk to her about it. Mm-hmm. And Joey's like, I'm fine. This is no problem. There's nothing to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying to you, like, I feel like it would really mess up how she feels about herself or whatever. Yeah. I don't even think she's acknowledged that.
Yeah. But I think that's what she's feeling for sure. But she says something like, her sister says something like, well, before this whole thing started, you wanted to, like, discover yourself or find yourself or whatever. So why don't you do that? Why don't you be on your own for a little while?
Yeah. Which is what she should have done to begin with.
So those things are butting against each other now. Mm-hmm. Dawson saying he wants to be back with her, and her saying, I don't, and her saying, listen, I'll come into your room and snuggle with you and cry on your shoulder anytime I want to, but I'm not going to be with you.
You're not putting your penis in my vagina anytime soon, Dawson.
Yeah, so that seems a little selfish or whatever. But when he says, yeah, I want to whatever, like, get back to normal or get back to the way things were between us. She's like, yeah, I want to get our friendship back together. He's like, no, I'm not talking about friendship.
Yeah. So that's a problem. So now he's in the worst mood.
Yeah. And Joey or Pacey and Andy have taken him out.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, I really love being a third wheel to you and your girlfriend's fucking night out.
Yeah, that's
on my birthday.
And Pacey took the fucking cop car. Like, why does his dad let him drive that car around everywhere? That's weird.
I don't. His dad's probably just drunk, passed out at the house.
That's
true. I think that's a subtle indication that his dad is not in control of his life.
Very, very good point. And Andy's like, put on the sirens, and he's like, no, and she's like, woo, woo, like doing it in the back, and she's like stone cold sober at this point.
Yeah, she's acting like you on a night out,
right?
But yeah, she's completely let loose, and she's embracing this idea of just being a kid and not caring about the rules or whatever.
So as they're driving along, she sees some place, and she's like, stop the car. And gets a lecture for that.
Well, yeah, because Pacey's acting like fucking dad.
He is. It's annoying. Like, They're acting like he's like 25, not also 16.
Mm-hmm. Well, almost 17, I guess. Now.
I guess that makes a big difference. I don't know. But yeah, so he takes them to the bar. It looks like the same bar that's
jazz
like
club
that
thing.
Jazz club place that the other kid gets served at.
It does kind of, yeah.
So, I mean, I suspect it's the same restaurant because they do quite easily order some cocktails.
Well, at first they just order Cokes.
Right.
And they're sitting there just drinking, and like Dawson's like moping and everything. And Andy says something. He says, one of them brings up like, you know, here I am, it's for my birthday or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm not even drinking or whatever. She's like, yeah. She goes, have you ever drank before? And he goes, no. I've never had an alcohol sip.
So when the waitress comes back and asks if they want more Coke, Andy's like, yeah, could you get a little more rum in it this time? I could barely taste it. Which I guess was supposed to be like a subtle manipulation of the waitress. It seemed dumb.
Doesn't the waitress know that's what she brought her?
You would think. And she's like, oh, sorry, I'll make sure they double up to make up for it. Like, so the waitress thinks that they ordered rum and Cokes and she messed it up, so she's asking for a double. And in reality, they ordered regular Cokes and they're not old enough to order rum and Cokes.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, that's how I took it. And I just think that it's stupid because, yeah, the waitress would not fall for that.
You wouldn't think so.
She would have at least been like, oh, you wanted rum and Cokes? I didn't realize, or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
they bring them alcoholic beverages.
Yeah, multiple alcoholic beverages with double shots in them.
And apparently, and they've never drank before.
Yeah.
And apparently, Pacey doesn't realize it till much later.
Yeah, which is crazy.
How does he not? I thought Andy and Dawson were going to fuck or something like that.
Oh, wow.
They really, they really bond in this episode.
They do, yes. They get up on stage together because it's open mic night.
Oh, my God.
And also,
so
open mic
terrible.
night is not the same thing as karaoke. So I don't really see how they manage what they do up there.
I've never encountered this in my life where they're just like, hey, it's open mic night. Just anybody come up and sing.
Yeah, normally it's like there's a sign-up sheet, and I mean, open mic night doesn't have to be singing. It could be like reading poetry or comedy or whatever.
I have heard open mic nights for comedy. Sure, you prepare a skit or whatever. You prepare a set, 5 minutes or whatever, and go up there and do 5 minutes. Sure, that's how a lot of comedians get their start. I've heard of open mic nights for comedy, which makes sense. I haven't heard of open mic nights for singing because how would you coordinate that?
Yeah.
The band, you're going to look at the band and just be like, yeah, play something, I'll sing. Or what? And, like, it's so ridiculous. This, like, they're singing the blues. And Dawson just perfectly makes up a song on the spot related to his life.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And also, it's over at the same time the band is ready to stop playing. How?
Well, he sings first about his ex-girlfriend and how she was with a guy that's gay and all stuff. And then Andy gets on there and she's like, and I'm the one whose brother's gay.
Right.
And my brother died. My dad ran away. My mom's crazy. Like, all this stuff. And it was like, holy shit, like, calm down, guys.
They're really airing everything out. But I mean, they're drunk and
very
like...
drunk.
But yeah, it stretches the believability a little bit that these two could just perfectly come up with rhyming blues lyrics that go with the music right on cue. It's not like saying it's not like going up there and saying like, yeah, I want to sing My Way by Frank Sinatra. You guys know that song?
Right.
And then singing that. It's so much different than that.
So much. But they do that. And then when they sit down, Pacey's like, have you guys been drinking? And he takes a sip of their drink. He's like, oh my gosh. And then they try to order more drinks after getting up and acting a fool on the stage. I mean, granted, they did a really good job, but still, you could tell. The waitress comes over and she's like, before I bring you anything else, the bartender wants to see your ID. So, like, yeah, maybe you fly under the radar when you're underage drinking in a bar.
Yeah.
But they did not.
And Andy's like, you know what? You should have asked us that 5 drinks ago. We're only 16 and you could lose your fucking liquor license.
Yeah,
and this is your fault.
What a ridiculous girl.
And Pacey's like, oh my God, shut the fuck up.
He like drags her out. She's like, his dad's the sheriff. And like, does she not realize it's also illegal for her to be drinking?
Well,
that she could get in trouble too?
I don't know if she realizes it or not. She might be too drunk to realize it. But she's not wrong in that they would get in way more trouble than the kids would. The kids wouldn't get jail time or anything. They might get like probation or something like that. But the restaurant could literally be shut down.
Well, yeah, and the restaurant like obviously wasn't going to call the cops on the kids or whatever, but still. But
yeah, it was hilarious though to see her like confront her and then they get let off. Oh, and during his blues song, Dawson's like, yeah, there's a surprise party waiting for me at the house, so he knows.
Yeah.
Don't know how he knows, but I guess he just figured it out or whatever.
Yeah, it's not usually hard to figure that shit out.
So did you figure it out when I threw you the surprise party?
No.
Oh, there you go.
No, you did a good job. I cleaned too. That was I think the best part of it all was that I was like, well, I was going to clean, but you want to go out, so let's go out first. I'll clean later. Like, no. Take care of that first.
I had you clean for your own party. It was perfect.
Right.
And then we went out mini golfing, and you were like, why are you taking so long?
Yeah, it was so hot out, too. I'm like, come on, people.
Like, why don't we, your niece and nephew went out with us, and I told your niece and nephew, hey, we gotta give time for everyone to get there and stuff, so let's just, like, be slow. And you're like, hey, nephew, like, you can just take a 6 or whatever.
Right.
And we're like, no. We got
12 swings later.
We gotta go through the whole thing. But anyway, so intercut with everything that's going on at the bar, we are seeing glimpses of the party. Oh, also one thing that happens, because this comes back at the party, one thing that happens before we go to the party and before the night out is Jack is at the ice house working. He and Joey look at each other and don't say anything, like look away from each other. But he goes and serves Andy and a couple of Andy's friends. Apparently Andy has 2 other female... Not Andy, sorry. Abby.
Yeah.
Apparently Abby has 2 other female friends or whatever. And she's like, oh, this is the gay guy. Oh, you're the gay guy. You're the first guy to ever come out in wherever we live. Cape Side. And they...
You're the only gay guy I've ever met.
Right. So they're making a huge deal about this and being like, oh, we would love you and support you so much, though, but you're gay, you're different. And he's like, yeah, thanks. And so then at the party, Abby's talking to him.
Why would she be invited? She's like an enemy.
I don't know. There were so many people there we don't even know too. But Abby's like, oh, hey, it's you did something. You put fudge in your hair or whatever. I don't know what he did with his hair.
Fudge, Jesus.
Yeah, the not. Wow, you thought I was like fudge packer? You thought I was going there?
I didn't know exactly why you said fudge.
You've never heard of fudge? It's like a gel, a sculpting gel for boys.
Yeah, he did something with his hair.
So she's like, "Oh, you look good. The gay comes, and then the fashion comes right after it, I guess."
And what a waste, and all, like, which is kind of a rude thing to say. I feel like
exactly. I remember my friend Bill said that one time about a woman that he liked that thought she was really attractive and she was a lesbian, and he was like, "Oh, it's such a waste." And I said, "Not for other lesbians,
right?"
They're probably really psyched about it. But anyway, so she ends up talking to him outside, and she's like, "Yeah, like I think everybody's dumb anyway. Everyone's like talking about you're gay and stuff like that. That's like a big deal." She's like, "It's not a big deal because we're all the people are bisexual.
Yeah, everybody's on like a spectrum.
We're all bisexual, and that's like our natural inclination, and everyone trying to be like straight or whatever is just like fighting against our animal nature and stuff like that." And it occurred to me when she was saying this stuff, I wonder if she tried this line on Jen
maybe
when her and Jen were hanging out.
But he decides that she gets him more than anybody else, which is stupid because she's not really seeming to get anything.
Right.
And they head up to Dawson's room to talk.
Everybody wants to be in Dawson's areas to do sex. It's weird.
I don't understand it. To do sex. Well, I mean, I thought they were going up there to talk. But
Abby thought something else.
They start making out.
Yep.
Which, like, okay, I kind of get because she was saying everybody's bi. Like, does that mean you also don't believe that he's fully gay?
I don't think she does, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think she really doesn't now.
Well, Joey walks in. And Joey's like, this is some of the best acting in the show, too. Joey walks in, and she's just like, I can't deal with this right now.
With Dawson.
She, like, laughs and says, oh, yeah, Dawson's there, too.
Yeah, she realized that he was drunk and took him upstairs.
Yeah.
And then they find this. Mm-hmm. Dawson thinks this is hysterical and starts rolling around laughing on the bed where they're, like, making out.
Yep.
It's like, what, do you want to get in on this? What are you doing?
It is weird. And then Abby's, like, laughing, too.
Yeah.
She's like, she thinks it's hilarious.
Everybody thinks it's funny except Joey and Jack.
But, yeah, Joey is not happy.
Of course not. Like, that's a slap in the face.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And then... speaking of Dawson's spaces, what's her name?
Oh, Jen and the Christian jazz dude. Start making out at the party.
They do a little Titanic thing. They're in his fort.
Before they go to the car, though.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Before they get into this car, they were making out, and he pulled away from her, and she's like, "What's going on?" Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Oh, you're turning me on too much, or whatever." Mm-hmm. And then later they're kissing, and she said some kind of challenging thing to him when he's pulling away, and then the next thing we know, they're in the car.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, oh, they just happened in the car. Like, they were making out. He tried to pull away from her a couple times before they ended up in that car.
Well, he pulls away the second time in the car because that's when she questions him about it.
Okay, I thought he pulled away before that.
He did pull away before that, but the next time he does is in the car. But they have, they have a Titanic moment.
They do.
She plasters her hand against the thing. And I'm like, that's so rude. Yeah. This guy's new car, and you guys are like fucking making out in the back of it.
Steaming it all up, stinking it up with your pheromones. It's gross.
Yeah, I hate it.
But yeah, so
he pulls back again, and she's like, okay, we got to talk about this. This is the second time you pulled back from a kiss. What the fuck is going on? And he was like, well, I don't want to go too far or whatever. And she's like, yeah, okay, I understand. And he's like, well, you with your reputation or whatever.
It's like kissing.
I know kissing's not just kissing or whatever.
What an asshole. What a fucking asshole.
Yeah. And I was so afraid. I'm like, she's going to give him a third chance.
He's like, you're tempting me.
You're a temptress because you're a whore.
So they have a big fight. She walks away from him. Why even mess with this guy in the first fucking place? Mm-hmm. He's an asshole.
I don't know. Like, he's a bigot, and like, yeah, I don't like him at all. Well, I guess we can finish up this storyline because there's not much left. But after the party, after what happens at the party happens, she's back at her house, and he comes up to her door and is like, hey, I'm sorry, like, whatever, like, I don't want to have premarital sex, and I know you like sex or whatever. And she's like, listen, asshole, did it ever occur to you, whatever you think about my past, that maybe I wanted something different? Mm-hmm. That I was with you because I wanted something pure and romantic. And she's like, and for me, the kiss was just kissing was just kissing. And like basically saying, like, I wanted to experience kissing for kissing's sake.
She was not trying to get in his pants, despite what he thought. He wanted to get in her pants, and he didn't know how to handle it. That's what it was.
Exactly. Yeah, he doesn't know how to deal with his own shit. So, so she basically says, "Get away from me."
Yeah, we're done. Yeah. Thank God.
Well, he's so insulting to her.
I hate him. I hate him so much. So I hope he's actually gone now.
Me too.
But yeah. So at one point during the party, Dawson and Andy get up on the table and start dancing.
Yeah, kind of when they first get there.
Yeah. And his mom's like, oh my God, are you drunk? And then he goes around the room.
Well, it's because she says, so they have the cake, and she's like, hey, Dawson, make a wish. Like, it's your cake. Yeah. It's your cake time. Make a wish. And he's like, oh, okay, what should I wish? What should I wish? And then he's like, I wish my mom and dad weren't such pieces of shit.
No, I wish my mom had never fucked her co-anchor, he says, in front of like 50 people in the
And
house.
she looks incredibly embarrassed.
I mean, that's awful.
And I wish my dad wasn't a fucking baby who didn't know how to deal with things.
And I wish my dad would get a job instead of just talking about it.
Uh-huh. And then he's like, I wish that, she's like, what about you, Pacey? I wish that Pacey could be the fuck up that makes me feel better about myself.
Yeah.
That he used to be instead of this upstanding guy now.
What a shitty thing to say.
He's being completely honest, though.
But I mean, like, I feel like that's almost worse than what he said to his parents. Like, because Pacey's been so awesome and worked so hard, and him to be like, I wish you weren't doing as well. Like, that's really awful.
It is. But then he's like, he goes up to Jen and he's like, and Jen, you've been drinking and like having sex and all this stuff. I want to party with you.
Yeah. At least you didn't put her down.
No. And then he goes up to Joey and he's like, Joey, the only 16-year-old in the world that needs to find herself. And then he's like, where's Joey? Where's my Joey? And she's like...
And he goes all around the room, like, miming, looking for, like, he makes a big production, too. Mm-hmm. It's awful.
And then he's like, oh, there's my Joey. And he tries to kiss her.
Oh, he does. He forcibly kisses her.
And she, like, kind of pushes him away and stuff. And...
Not okay.
And then...
She pushed him away and he fell in the cake.
And he fell face first in the cake.
And he stayed there for a second. I thought maybe he passed out, which would have been hilarious. But no.
And then we cut to... cake all over his face, vomiting in the sink because Andy's vomiting in the toilet.
What a gentleman. He gave her the toilet and he took the sink.
Yeah. They're throwing up, and then they kind of have another heart-to-heart, too, where she's like, I'm never going to drink again. Yeah, okay, sure you want, Andy. And she's like, remind me if I ever want to drink again, how I feel right now. And
he's like, yep.
Everything that people say.
Right. The first time you get too drunk. And then later he's laying on his bed.
Mm-hmm.
And
Joey comes in.
Yeah, and he's like, I want the room to stop spinning.
And he's like, I'm so sorry for whatever I said to you. Do you think he really doesn't remember, or do you think that that's an easy excuse?
I mean, it could go either way. He was pretty drunk.
Yeah. Drunk enough to vomit.
Yeah. So he definitely could have blacked out, but I mean, he knew he said something.
Right.
So...
But yeah, he said, I'm sorry for whatever I said to everyone. And she's like, that's okay. I forgive you.
Which is way nicer than I think anybody would really be.
Oh, he says to Jack, too. This is hilarious. He's like, Jack doing his Kevin Klein impersonation.
Yeah, in and out.
In and out. He's in. He's out. He's in. He's out. I think James Vanderbeek had a lot of fun with that whole situation.
Yeah. It was a funny monologue.
But then, yeah, so... that gets all cleared up, and then the last thing that happens is that Joey talks to Jack. Mm-hmm. They finally have a conversation, and she's like, yeah, fucking Abby, great. And he's like, listen, she made me feel like I wasn't a freak, so that was what the attraction was there. But kissing her, like, I instantly realized I am gay. I'm 100% gay.
Yeah, didn't he say to her friends on the way down the stairs, too, like, more gay than that ever or something like that?
Yeah.
Which is kind of mean.
Because she was like, not so gay now.
Yeah. So, yeah, he didn't enjoy his makeout session.
No. So he's 100% gay.
You'd have to have made out with Katie Holmes and what's the other one?
Monica Keena.
Yeah. To have made out with those two women and not have enjoyed it, you'd have to be gay.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I guess that's where it ends.
Yeah, so we will see next time what happens, but Dawson's got to be careful. What do you think he finally wished for, though? Think he made a wish?
A time machine?
Oh, Carol, tell the people where they can regret their things at.
So you can write us at latefee1994 at AOL.com. Mm-hmm. Check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com.
Yep.
And share the tapes with your friends.
Okay, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.